There is absolutely nothing in the world that I dislike more about having MS than being fatigued all the time. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam and I've been living with multiple sclerosis for almost 40 years. And I've had many symptoms over the years, as I've detailed for you in other videos. But the one that's been kind of consistent and consistently discouraging is fatigue. I probably don't have it as bad as some people do. I can actually get up and do a few things, but I run out of gas so quickly. And I understand that what's happening is something called nerve fiber fatigue. And I will link the video below that I did on the 3 types of MS fatigue. But the one that plagues me the most is nerve fiber fatigue, where your nerves just kind of go on strike and stop conducting whatever the signal is. So in my legs in particular, but also in my hands, my fingers, it's no fun. I have lived with it. I've tried to live with it. I've changed my routines. I've changed my activities. I do my most important task first. If I'm going to do any handwriting, I do that early in the day because I know my writing will deteriorate as the day goes on. But even apart from all of that, it's just tiresome. I'd really love to get out and walk. We're getting onto the season now where getting out and walking is really fun in addition to being really good for you. But I just don't trust that I'm going to get very far before my legs just say, not going to do that anymore. And I don't want to be 3 blocks away or half a mile away when that happens. So I decided, after thinking it over and looking online at all of the information about it, to have my doctor reorder a prescription of Amantadine. And I've been taking that now for, 2 or 3 weeks. And I have to say that it's helping, but it's helping in ways that I didn't think it would, rather than in the way that I was hoping it would. Amantadine is a dopamine agonist, and that's a fancy way of saying that it fools your brain into thinking that dopamine is available when dopamine levels in your body actually are low. And that's one reason that it's used a lot in Parkinson's to control involuntary motions. And for multiple sclerosis, it's supposed to help with nerve conductivity so that the signals actually get where they're going and actually convey the right information. So I was really hopeful that that was going to be the case and that I was going to have more energy. I don't really know that that's honestly true. But here's what I did find. I was having quite a bit of numbness in my fingers. And I found that now, with the Amantadine, I can actually sort of feel things again. It's quite a bit better. It's not 100%, but it's quite a bit better. And also the bottoms of my feet. I didn't even know were numb. But now when I step, I can actually tell that I'm stepping on something solid, that I'm not going to slip or trip or fall. And I had no idea that those little signals just weren't getting through. But I appreciate that tremendously. That's helping me a lot. And it also does seem to be helping me with the restless legs that I deal with at night too. It's not 100% again, but it's quite a bit better. But it sure still would be nice if there were something out there that helped me with my fatigue so that I could actually go out for walks again. That would be the thing I would want most in life. I know somebody made the comment fairly recently that they would do anything to get rid of their fatigue. If they were told there was a certain thing that they needed to eat every day or never eat again, didn't matter what it was, they would do it. If there was a behavioral change that could be done so that the fatigue would be gone, they would do that gladly. And I echo that. I think I would too. And we're all waiting for that nasal spray that I talked about a few weeks ago. I'll link that video too, in case you missed it. The Firelimab, which is supposed to be a monoclonal antibody nasal spray that helps with fatigue. That is a wonderful thing. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be talking to my doctor about that as soon as I can. But in the meantime, what am I going to do? Well, There's a lot of research that talks about fatigue, and I will probably make another video with some of the latest research on that. But one thing I wanted to do today was talk about a new clinical trial that's recruiting right now about fatigue, and I thought you might want to know about it, so let's go ahead and take a look. I saw this article in Multiple Sclerosis News today on June 7, 2024. It's called Large U.S. Trial to Test Online Programs for Treating MS Fatigue. Trial enrolling 2,000 MS patients expected to launch in coming months. That's a big trial. I'm hopeful that they can actually recruit that many people. And they say that a large clinical trial to test online programs for treating fatigue in people with multiple sclerosis will launch in the United States in the coming months. The study, the largest of its kind, will be funded by a nearly $4.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Defense via the MS Research Program and spearheaded by iConquer-MS, a patient-powered research initiative from the Accelerated Cure Project, or ACP, in collaboration with the U.S. Department of Defense Veterans Affairs. Recruitment is expected to begin this summer within the iConquer-MS network and in the fall for 5 participating VA sites. The study seeks to recruit patients from a wide variety of backgrounds, including communities who are typically underrepresented in clinical trials. The news is better and better, I think. Fatigue is often the most difficult symptom to manage, and the community of people with MS is particularly excited to know this study may provide compelling evidence for a non-pharmacological treatment accessible by everyone. Laura Kolexowski, lead patient representative for iConquer-MS, said in a press release. Now that's even better. So this is something that's non-pharmacological and it's accessible to everyone. It just keeps getting better all the time, doesn't it? We look forward to testing these online programs through a highly inclusive clinical trial to determine if this will be a successful fatigue treatment option, she added. And they go on to say that fatigue is a common complaint of MS patients. Fatigue, a mental or physical exhaustion that gets in the way of daily life, is a common complaint in MS. It can arise as a direct consequence of nerve cell damage, or can be secondary to MS treatments, other MS symptoms, or the stress of living with a chronic disease. I might also add that some medications can increase it or exacerbate it as well. Medications have shown a limited ability to ease fatigue in MS patients and also carry a risk of side effects, so there's a need to identify effective non-pharmacological interventions that can help reduce the symptom. And see, I was talking about that earlier, that I'm trying Amantadine again, and it's not really hitting the fatigue like I was hoping, but it does carry side effects, so I have to really weigh that out and decide if that's something I want to take on. I am appreciating the things it is doing, but am I appreciating them enough to deal with the possible side effects? Online programs, also called digital therapeutics, offer a potential way to do so. The general idea of such programs is to provide information that helps MS patients understand fatigue and the strategies they can use to manage it. These types of programs, which can be completed at home, also offer a way to reach populations who don't have easy access to a clinic for care. Fatigue can be very debilitating for many people with MS, so finding therapies to manage this symptom is critical, said Robert McBurney, PhD, ACP's Chief Research Officer and the study's co-lead investigator. Non-pharmacological, scalable treatments could be life-changing for many people with MS, especially those who live in rural communities or experience other barriers to more invasive medical treatments or in-person sessions, McBurney added. And that might, of course, include finances and insurance, right? Digital therapy company Gaia has developed such a program called Elevita, which is already approved in Germany and covered by health insurance there. It's essentially an interactive guided therapy program based on cognitive behavioral approaches, such as mindfulness, that patients move through at their own pace. They say that MS patients in the German trial report online program reduced their fatigue. A clinical trial conducted in Germany involving 275 MS patients found the online program significantly reduced measures of fatigue and did not cause any safety concerns. The planned U.S. trial will test the effectiveness of 2 different online programs, one of which is an American English version of the German one. Gaia and other institutions involved in the development of the German version will be collaborators on the U.S. project. Ultimately, the goal is to earn a similar approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for such a program as a therapy for MS fatigue. The large clinical trial is expected to enroll 2,000 MS patients. The range of sites selected through the iConquer MS and VA networks are to ensure that patients from typically underrepresented populations are also included in the studies. Participants will be assigned to use either of the 2 experimental online programs or no online program for 6 months on top of their standard MS medications, with a final study visit 6 months after that, 1 year total. In the second 6-month period, participants not initially assigned to an online program will be able to choose one to participate in. We hope this largest ever and most diverse clinical trial of online treatments for fatigue and MS will definitively demonstrate the benefits of this online therapeutic for people with MS from a wide variety of backgrounds, McBurney said. And here is the clinical trial page. The study is called Confirmatory Trial for Alleviating Fatigue in Multiple Sclerosis. And as you remember from the article, this is to confirm the German study that seemed to show that people did benefit from these online programs. And so here's the clinical trial number. Of course, I'm going to link this down below. And it was just last updated on June 4th of this year, 2024. And you can read through all of this. I'm not going to go through it right here. I think that if I link this, you can go out and take a look. But there's just a couple of things I wanted to point out. They're looking at a completion date of September of 27. So they're looking for, like I said, 2,000 people to enroll. Contacts and locations. There's the name of the contact and their phone number and their email. So you can certainly contact them or talk to your doctor and see if perhaps they already have some kind of contact with these folks. You might also want to take a pretty good look here at the eligibility criteria. If I look at this for myself, informed consent, yes. Living in the U.S., yes. Age greater than 22, yes. Confirmed diagnosis of MS, yes. Fatigue severity scale, at or above eligibility threshold, which I don't know yet what it is. Fluent in English, I believe so. Willingness to engage in self-administration of an online intervention for 24 weeks, yes. Access to the internet, yes. No MS relapse or steroid treatment in the 4 weeks prior, I'm hoping so. And no disease-modifying therapeutics started, no. And then here's the exclusion criteria. Unwilling or unable to consent. Refusal to saving, processing, and forwarding of pseudonymized data. And concurrent participation in another interventional trial. So far, so good, I believe. I will link this below so you can take a look if you wish. I might be wanting to look into that. Because like I said, I'd do pretty much anything to get rid of this fatigue. And this doesn't sound like it's going to be very dire, but we'll see. I'll look into it and I'll let you know if anything comes of it. What's the symptom of MS that bothers you the most? Is it fatigue or is it something else? I'd be really curious to know, so leave me a comment. Also, leave me a comment about this new clinical trial if you think that that's something you'd be interested in. But that's all I have for you today. So until next time, you know you need to take really good care of yourself, right? So that we're ready for all these developments when they come out. I'll see you again in my next video.